There's no way to win the game of business or the game of life by playing on defense. It's impossible. Like think of a baseball game, for instance. I used this example earlier today, but if you were to just play in the outfield the entire time, you can keep other people from winning, but you yourself will never win unless you get up to bat.
Welcome to the Honor It All podcast. I'm Honor Garrett, your host, and we're here to honor all that is good in the world. Each podcast, I interview top professionals, entrepreneurs, and pro athletes around the globe who are making a difference, impacting lives, and creating positive change. Today, we have Cynthia Stant. Cynthia is a sales consultant, brand strategist, and self-made millionaire. After a successful corporate career, Cynthia transitioned into helping other seven-figure CEOs to train and keep world-class talent, skyrocket company revenue, and create a success-driven and loyal corporate culture. Cynthia attributes much of her success to her studies in metaphysics and mastering the art of meditation. Cynthia's ultimate goal is to help every woman connect to her inner feminine beast. And what that means in her words is the highest version of you that has the power, strength, courage, and clarity to claim the life you desire and have it merge through here in the physical, your physical reality. Cynthia is also the host of the Inner Feminine Beast podcast, which covers topics such as business, universal laws, relationships, health, mindset, metaphysics, success, spirituality, all the things. I can't wait to dive in and learn about your journey, Cynthia. I'm so excited to have you here today. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Honor. It is an honor to be here.
I've never heard that. No, thank you. Well, it's funny. We're actually both in Florida. So we're probably enjoying our Christmas with our palm trees, right?
That's actually, I made one of those posts where it looks like I might have had a baby, where it's like hundreds and hundreds of light. You're like, where? I have a Christmas tree that's a palm tree that I decided to do. We're like, you know what? We're beachfront here in Florida these days. Like, let's do a palm tree Christmas tree, and it's quite the hit. But yeah, we're really soaking in Florida. Like, we love it.
I think I saw a post on that. It was really cool. So tell me, how did you go from corporate executive to creating the inner feminine beast? And can you expand on what that is and what it means to you?
Yeah, so I was fired to put it. No, I'll tell you that. So for me, I've always been in sales. I love sales. For me, it breaks my heart when I hear people say that they think sales is spammy, scammy, or sleazy. And for me, sales is sexy. Sales is spiritual. Sales to me is the start of my client's success. And it's all about serving and being a solution, a lot of S words. So instead of spammy, scammy, those S words are the ones I like to focus on. And so, at a really young age, I was able to have 13 interviews and become the youngest state manager in the world for the largest supplier for wine and spirits. And at a very young age, I got my head handed to me, and, I had a lot of tears, and I used to manage really big teams of, at the time, I think like 45 people, all of which have children my age. So I was responsible for forecasting, budgeting, really giving the tools and programs for my teams to be able to hit these numbers. And I was really proud, but within the 2 years that I was doing that, working for the supplier and distributor, my team ranked number one in the nation 2 years back to back. So I figured out how to really use sales to serve, to be solutions, to build relationships, and to drive a big team to do it. What's interesting is, being in the wine and spirits world, I was at a salary. And when people are most celebrating, it's nights, weekends, holidays. I was a mother at 23. And at the same time, I thought it was sexy in the beginning to go to Miami and then fly to New York, then head out to Kentucky. But eventually I realized, you know what, I have a little one and I'm not present with him. I'm teaching everybody how to make sales, yet I'm on a salary. And at the same time, like, I'm not going trick-or-treating with my kids. I'm not going on celebrating New Year's with anybody. Why? Because they're on the 31st of the month, and that's when you have to get numbers in. So I decided to demote myself. And everyone's like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, I can get commissions. See, I'm a woman who enjoys commissions because that means I'm not capped. And I know if anybody can do it, I can do it. And I ended up, becoming a salesperson and ranking number one in most portfolios in the wine and spirits world. So what's really cool when you're good at sales is that you build this pipeline of relationships, and eventually it's pretty easy to know where your next sale is coming in from. So I started working from home and just making phone calls and really working 2 hours a day.
Wow. Oh, and that's what I was going to ask you. So here you've built this wildly successful business from home, and you're helping others do the same thing, but you have a husband and kids. I don't know about you, but even if I'm working from home, I have this tendency, my husband will say, once you go in, you are so narrow focused that even we get ignored sometimes. So how do you keep that balance even at home?
Well, the thing is, it worked when I was a salesperson, and then eventually it evolved into now owning my own company. It's really just understanding wherever you put your focus is where your momentum goes. It's about time blocking. It's about having discipline. See, people think discipline is like this word of punishment, like, oh, discipline, boot camp, drop down, give me 20, right? Like, no, discipline to me is freedom. It's about having healthy boundaries, healthy standards, and it's about like choosing, how you want to do things the way you want to do, and like committing to it and really seeing it through. And so I really understand the process of time. When I was a salesperson, 2 o'clock in the morning, you had to take a phone call. There was times where we would work till 2 in the morning. My boss would call me at 6 in the morning, like, where's your next sale? Gun to your head. Like, what's your problem? Get going, produce more, do more, go, and that's all we cared about. Very patriarchal way of doing things. And I realized that, I can write the script that I want to, because I'm truly the CEO of my life, not just of my business. So I really understood I can rewrite the script and do things differently. 5 o'clock, I'm not taking calls. Fridays, I don't work. Going into 2023, we decided now Mondays, I'm not going to work. And it's not that I'm not working. As I said to you today, this is probably my 4th podcast interview today, and I have one more after this, but it's because I'm really focused, and I work my calendar so that when I do things, like I like having marathon of days so that I can take so many other days off. And this is fun though. this is what I enjoy doing. So it's not like, oh, it's hard. It's like, no, I'm just, putting a lot of things. It's really just about focus and prioritizing.
Yeah. So, and it also sounds like the magic is kind of like work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm most proud of. Can kind of continuing the story real quick so everyone understands. When I decided I wanted to start my own business, I went and I decided to work with a business consultant. I had no idea what I was doing, right? So I needed to get help on how to do that. And so what happened was I actually ended up realizing that I wasn't ready to have my own business. In fact, I saw a really big opportunity to be working with her. And so I sold myself into a position that wasn't even available, and I became her first salesperson. I just thought the world of her. I thought she was so successful. I thought she was so beautiful. I really loved her. She was an amazing saleswoman. So what happened was, she's like, I don't think so. And I was like, look, I will quit my cushy sales job that I have now and start from day one with you at the bottom. And so together, we really took things off. I learned
I saw it happen.
I learned the art of social selling, because back when I sold wine and alcohol and, spirits and all that, you could stand in a doorway and not leave until somebody kicked you out, right? Or these are low products. These aren't like 10,000 plus hour coaching programs. So right. I really learned a lot about metaphysics, as you kind of mentioned before. And I really put what I knew about sales and combined them, and really found out the art of social selling, about emotional connection. We grew the company to 8 figures within 1 year. We started getting really noticed. And next thing I know, she's like, you need to coach everybody on how we're doing this. So I started coaching 700 people on a coaching call. I started coaching 7 and 8 figure people in sales. So it really helped me with my confidence. It really helped kind of to engineer my celebrity. And then, as I was saying jokingly, but one day, I ended up realizing I got a phone call with some HR person I never met, that I was fired. And at first I was really bitter. I was really hurt, but you know what? I think it's a blessing. I learned so many things of what to do, but also what not to do. And I really discovered my potential of how I can support people through sales. So, when I first started my company, I really followed that model of scaling. That's what I came from. Do more, go more, launch, and have set up 1 million phone calls and do all the things. I started that with my company, and it went really well. We I say we, it's just a habit. It was really me at the time, but I created a 6-figure company in 4 months and then multiple 6 in 6 months through the scaling process. But as I evolved, I just felt like there was something in me, like God was saying, like, Cynthia, like, you need to be behind the thought leaders. Like, it's not in the numbers that you're going to create the impact. It's helping the people who are going to have the numbers get behind them so they can create the impact. And so I decided to switch my model from a scalable to a premium model, where I more than doubled, quadrupled many of my investments. I limited the amount of people that I worked with. I really chose who I wanted to work with. And I did it in a way where, again, I only do it 2 days out of the month. It's not that I'm not doing other things in my business, but I'm coaching 2 days a month. And so I realized, yes, it's looking back in the past, the way of doing things is not how you're going to ever evolve. And it's willing to see it differently and getting the help and support of somebody else who's doing that have been able to. So yeah, 100%, my whole model, everything that I stand for is about working less and earning more. And really, again, it's because of that sales background. I'm really, really, really proud of the impact that I make in my business through my clients. I'm so grateful for the money that I make in my business. But the thing I'm most proud of is the time freedom that I have, the lifestyle that I have because of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so tell me, how do you work with women today, and who's your favorite type of person to work with?
Well, there's not really a favorite, but I mean, there's some things, there's different ways. So what happens is, a lot of times there are women who climb to the very top of what they do. They're very high up in corporate. Many of these women, I don't know what it is, but they're really attractive to me. Many of the women that are top of their network marketing. Okay. So I've at least 6 clients now that are the top 10 in the world in their network marketing companies. And they realize, like, wow, I climbed to the top. I'm really awesome at this. But to be honest, it's still kind of working for somebody else's business. And I can't do the things I want to do, or I have so much more that's wanting to come to me or through me. And, perhaps there's a way I can start a coaching business, but I don't want to do all the things that took me to how I got here. Can I start quicker? Yes, because you have such authority already. You have such credibility already. You already have the credentials and things that people dream of having. You don't have to start in this big scalable way. I don't need you dancing on TikTok. In fact, this past month was the biggest cash month my company ever had. And to be honest, Honor, we didn't send a single email. We didn't do a single freaking TikTok. I didn't even record any more stories. We had them go out, but it was previous footage.
Yeah.
I took 18 days off. Okay. And worked 3-hour days for the days that I did work. And I'm showing you it's possible. A lot of women can start there and they know it, but they need the right model. And really, they're a luxury premium model, but they're looking at ways of how other people are doing scalability. And that's not going to help them to be and get the results they're looking for. So they want to get started the right way, with the right structure, the right strategy, but most importantly, with the right support with somebody who's already doing it. So that's one of the people that I'm really working with, and I'm helping them to start a premium model from day one. The second person is very much like me, where they started a company in the beginning and they had no testimonials, no programs, no clients, and really had to build some validation. They had to get some case studies. They had to get some reviews, some testimonials, so that they can eventually really have their energy behind, and also the validation of why they can charge the premium. So they had to really establish themselves in the market, and they're done scaling. They're seeing if they're going to keep scaling, they're going to have to hire more. They're going to have to get more overhead. They're going to have to launch more. They have to keep feeding themselves through the sales funnel. Like, they're already seeing the future, and it's looking exhausting, but they're like, hey, I have a big following now. Like, marketing isn't necessarily my issue, or like, I'm not really working with the people that light me up anymore. So what do? You come to me to get away from the scalable model and learn how to tap into the premium.
Oh, that's awesome.
The other person that I work with is, I work with many multiple 7 and 8 figure. It tends to be women. It's just kind of how it is. I certainly be open to men when it comes to this particular position, but I call them my executive sales clients. And these are the ones that love launching. Okay. It's working for them. They're doing the launch models. They have big sales teams. I've trained anyone from 3 people up to 85. Okay. There's some out there that have huge teams. And they really need to make sure that their team is really in understanding how to drive revenue, but it's also creating that company culture that helps to secure that talent and really promote success. So I was the best of the sales teams, and I used to manage the big sales teams. So now I'm going in and helping each salesperson to really understand that they're the CEO of the desk. Like, they can be focused. but teaching the company how to tie the salesperson's goals into the company's goals. So I've worked with women who were making $250,000 a month, and after 8 hours of coaching, their team went to $500,000 cash months. So many of my executive clients are adding $100,000 in recurring every single month after 3 months of working together. So like, that's something else I really do. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's probably one of the biggest, I guess, holdups or that keeps people stuck is a lot of women want to coach and they want to have this business, but they are afraid to put it all out there for fear of feeling salesy. So that's great that you can help kind of shift their perspective and mindset around
I think
that.
that's the other part. It's a huge part is the mindset. When I first started my coaching, it was based off spirituality because I had a non-compete. So I was teaching women not only I wasn't teaching them strategies in business, but I was teaching them how to be the CEO of their life. And really that's alignment and working with your higher self, who, as you told everybody, I refer to as your inner feminine beast. But well, it's really understanding how to tie in that it's not just what you do, it's who you are when you do it. And so, yeah, that's a big part of it that I'm glad that you brought up for sure.
Oh, wow. That's really good.
Well, real quick, sorry. So that made me think of it. What happens is, this is what always happens. When you are the top of the top and you're head of corporate, you're used to having people like do all the things for you. Like you literally have people running to get you coffee, or, you have a sales team, all these things. And now when you're starting something new, a lot of women hate that feeling of vulnerability. We hate being disappointed, and it's scary because you were at the top. Now you jump into something that you have to learn everything from scratch, and you're going to do it because you can feel it and you're supposed to, but it's like, I want to be with somebody who can help me not only with the strategies and the systems, but again, that support, which is the mindset, the mindfulness, the like ups and downs, the roller coasters. And so that's kind of where that comes in. Yeah. That's who a lot of the women are.
That's absolutely well. And so what do you think, the number one, I guess, a thing that holds people back? Do you think it is the mindset, or what's another thing that you can think of that you've found you're like, wow, I can't believe they're struggling with that you help them with?
I think what happens is, it's funny. I just hopped off a call right before this with the ladies in my alumni program, and it was actually our last session of the year together, and we were reflecting on everything for the year. And what we realize is, or we don't realize, is just how powerful we truly are. And I always say that you're not only the CEO of your life, you can think of yourself as like the director of your life. You write the scripts, you hire the actors, you fire the actors. Nothing is a coincidence. You are not a victim. Everything is for you, by you. And what's happening since we were little, and we know this to be true, but it's still really sad when you say it out loud, is that the number one thing we've been taught is to look for the no. And, when you're little, it's like, no, you're not big enough, Honor. No, don't touch that. No, go ask daddy. No, we can't afford that. No, you're not pretty enough. You're not tall enough. You're not, no, 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 don't touch mommy's wine. No, no, whatever it is, right? Like, you just get told no all the time. But when I have small children, as we were discussing, they're like, mom, mom, mom. They're so persistent, right? They're like the perfect little salespeople. They're like, can Timmy come over? Can Timmy come over? Can Timmy come over? And I'm like, oh, maybe. And for them, when they hear maybe, they're like, oh my God, mom said yes. Like, yes. And I know I said maybe, but maybe to them is like, but of course she's going to. They look for the yes. We've been conditioned though, after enough, to be told to say no. What happens is, I see how excited he is when I do say maybe. He thinks it's a yes. I can't say no to him now. But as adults, when we hear a maybe, we're like, oh, well, she doesn't have the money. Oh, this isn't going to work out. What happens very often is we write the script based off what we know in the past, and we don't give ourselves permission to play with curiosity, play with imagination, be willing to write it differently. Give yourself permission to postulate. Disney always said, if you can dream it, you can do it. And part of being a CEO means you're the visionary. Like, you're the shot caller. You can't be stuck in the maze all the time. You have to rise up and learn how to see big picture and thinking well ahead. And so really, when you see ahead, what happens is that you start writing the script for you. Women very often make problems into problems that aren't even problems. And I'm like, you just wrote that. And whatever you say is so.
Absolutely. I mean, and what I think about a lot is the fact that, you were saying everything happens for you, but that's why we have to be intentional, because our subconscious, or how we grew up, it's so automatic
Yep.
And as like Joe Dispenza or other people, you're living in the past when you look at the present reality. That was thought a long time ago. So what are you creating today? What are you thinking about? And so that's the biggest kind of growth thing that I've been through is you need to start really being intentional because the universe is bringing it to you, whether you intended it or not. And so we so often unintentionally think of things that we don't even want.
Yeah, no, that's actually kind of like the biggest motto of what an IFB is, inner feminine beast. She's extremely intentional. Like everything you do, you are the cause that creates the effect. You go first and everything responds. There's no way to win the game of business or the game of life by playing on defense. It's impossible. Like think of a baseball game, for instance. I used this example earlier today, but if you were to just play in the outfield the entire time, you can keep other people from winning, but you yourself will never win unless you get up to bat. So you can't wait for other people to make moves and you can't play on defense. You have to live a life of offense, which means you're going to strike out, which means you're going to slide and get bloody knees, which means you're going to make mistakes and failures. But your job is not to play defense, one, but two, to react when that happens. So that's what that's been like the biggest thing that ever helped me is when something happens, I don't react because I know it's not happening to me. Like I created it. I'm the cause that got that effect. So instead of like judging it and labeling it and reacting to it, your job is to observe it and like see it for what it is, and then take that information and decide what you're going to do with it.
Right.
Obviously, if you don't like it, do something different.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure there are people women in our audience right now that want to start a business or they already have a business, but they feel stuck or stagnant. What's one piece of advice you would offer to these women who are doubting themselves?
I mean, here's the thing. It's really, if you feel stuck, again, it's about giving yourself permission to just postulate. So when I say I don't work Fridays, it's not that I'm not working. It's just that I'm not doing the interviews and coaching. I'm giving myself permission to just see bigger. See bigger. Again, that's what the CEO is, the visionary. So if you gave yourself permission to not ask the how, to not wonder, what the steps would be and what would have to happen, but if you allowed yourself to go there, just really give yourself permission to play. What is it that is calling to you? I believe our life purpose is to fulfill our desires, because your desire is constantly be pulling at you. And when you stop growing, that's when you die. So following your desire is how you move. That is your purpose. And every time you fulfill your purpose, it creates an impact for other people always. And so what you really have to do is, if you gave yourself permission to really just visualize what that thing is, do you even have clarity on what it is? Because that's why we plateau. We usually don't have clarity on what it is we even really want. So when's the last time you really sat there without judging and labeling, but said, this feels damn good. That would be so cool. What if it all did work out this way? And once you see that, just so you know, if you see it in your mind, as Bob Proctor always says, you can hold it in your hand. Like you did not make that thing up. People always say, but Cynthia, I just imagined that. Well,
But that's the energy that creates material.
Yes, right? When it comes to manifesting, you have to realize the physical is the very last form. That is the last phase of manifestation. Everything has to come from the spiritual realm down into the mental, then into the spiritual. So when something comes in your mind, you're supposed to actually get excited, because look, nothing's created, nothing's destroyed. You did not create that thought. You aligned with it. That it came into the mental, which means get excited, whoop it up, because you're actually in the second phase of manifestation. What happens though, you see something in your mind, you're like, oh my God, that feels good. That feels amazing. I should do that. But then that's when the doubt comes in. You're like, but how would that work? I'm not ready for that. I have to lose 10 pounds before I do that. I have to make a few sales before I can buy that thing, and like, that's where I always say, starve your doubt, feed your inner feminine beast. And look, nobody else can make you think the way that you think other than you. That's where the self-discipline, the self-integrity, self-accountability comes into play. That's where mindset work comes in. That's where having mentors who've already done it for you, or mentors like myself who hold you to the standard of what it is that you desire. When women come to me and they tell me what they want, we think about, who do you have to be to have that? Because that version of you already exists. How does she think? How does she feel? How does she act? Because that is how you're going to get that result. not if you try, if you dabble, because she's not trying or dabbling. She already has it. It's owning it, claiming it. And so work with a mentor who sees that end result for you. And anytime that you're being out of alignment with acting like her, it's all like you're literally wasting your time and energy. You have to be her in order to get her results. So I always work with people where I share my dreams, that they hold me to that standard. And that's what I like to do for my clients too. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I feel like everyone has it backwards. It's like, when I see it, I'll believe it. And I'm like, no, you can't get there from there. You have to like believe it.
I'll do the thing. I'm like, no, you do the
No. You have to do the thing to become confident. You have to believe it and then become it. And then it just, it can't help. If you know that, like you said, the laws of the universe, I mean, like attracts like. So you have to align, you have to put your tuner, your receiver on where it is you want to go. And so many of us sit back and we're like, I want to do this so bad. Why hasn't it come? Why hasn't it come? I'm like, it's like the radio analogy, because you want to be at the 105 rock station, but you're on the 99.5 country station. Like, if you want that, you gotta change. You gotta move.
Yeah, I gotta change the frequency.
But it doesn't mean that it's not there.
But here's the most important part.
Huh?
Exactly. Yeah. But if you want to be on the 105 rock station, you can't just get to it once. You have to maintain, tune in, tap in, and stay consistently at that frequency to receive the information that you desire at that station, which means you can't dabble, you can't try. You can't be like in and out and wish-washy with it. Yeah. You have to maintain the standard and stick with that frequency. It's the same thing. You're totally right.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting as much as probably the people listening out of this. So, so I know we're always evolving, we're expanding, we're creating and becoming. Is there anything on your horizon that you have energetically created that is on its way for you?
I think what I'm most excited about is, for where I got to in my business, it's been amazing. I mean, I know not everybody can see me on camera, but I'm holding up my cell phone. This little box that I have right here has created magic and miracles in my life. And the best part is with no overhead. I have some of the most amazing clients. I have some of the most amazing colleagues. My best friends, and I really mean that, are women that I've only seen once or twice in real life, because I've had the power of the internet to connect with people all over the world. But what I have decided to do is really create more intimacy in my life. And again, it's not hiding behind the camera and speaking to the masses. I really am so excited to connect with the thought leaders who are really ready to make big moves and to really have that support. And I've decided for this all upcoming year that I'm hosting in-person events. And I held one as a big party in October, and it was off the chains fun. We had multiple 8-figure women there. We had 7-figure women there. We had many of my VIP clients, women from the UK, Los Angeles, Canada, like all over the world came. And I threw like the biggest party, and really it was a celebration of where we were, where we're at, and what to look forward to. So they were my mentors, colleagues, like I said, people that helped me to get where I'm at. But also because I had a non-compete for a long time, and that was like completely done and washed off. I wanted to throw a party, say, thank God, this is the rebranding. This is the full version of me coming out. The full version of me does not hide behind screens. The full version of me is hands-on, high-fiving, hugging, and in your business with you. So I'm just so excited for this new evolution of intimacy and not scaling in masses. It's really like, again, just working with people to see things differently and be hands-on with them. So we have so many different events scheduled for this upcoming year that that's what I'm really stoked about. I'm really excited for that.
Okay. So all of your information I'm going to have in the notes, whether you're listening to this on a podcast or you're watching it on YouTube. But how do people work with you if they're interested?
So for me, it's interesting, actually. It's not just a click and buy now. It's definitely reach out, let me know if you're interested, but it's really important to me that we have a two-way conversation. So I'm honored if you see the value of working with me, but I want to learn about you. The reason is because I truly mean this. I'm one of the weirdos out there, I suppose, but I stand by this. Like, I use the word guarantee because I guarantee my client success. And if you come and be my client, like, you have to realize your success is my success. Your success is my reputation. So I want to make sure that I'm working with the people that I can really support. Like you have the business model that I can really connect with, that we have that zing factor where we're in this, because I look at money as the energy commitment, right? Like when somebody pays money, that means to me, like they're committed to do this, but I'm also committed to supporting them on this journey. So definitely, reach out. You can review our pages and everything, but it's not just a click and buy. It's very much connect in my DMs. I'm always on Facebook. That's where I usually hang out, Cynthia Stant. I'll make sure to share the links with you. But I want to just talk with you. I want to chat with you. I want to connect with you. And if you are interested, I can tell you more, but also I just want to make sure for the both of us, it's a hell yes. That's what's important for me. But of course, if you want to learn more, we'll make sure you get all the links. You can listen to the podcast. You can check out the sales pages. You can, see many of the master classes and things that we've hosted in the past for sure. But that's like the important thing for me. And I believe that's for anyone. You should choose who you want to work with, because you have to have your clients get results. Absolutely.
That's so awesome. Well, so Cynthia, I love to end each podcast. I've learned so much today, and I love talking with you. You're so easy to talk with, and I can tell how wonderful you must be with your clients. So I'd love to end each podcast with the same question for every single guest I have. This podcast is called the Honor It All podcast. So what are you choosing to honor today?
I choose to honor my inner feminine beast. It's, again, she is the version of me that has the clarity, the strength, the power to see it through. And, it's really interesting, but most people, they still don't believe me, but it wasn't long ago. It gets longer now, but I would say maybe 5-6 years ago, I was a woman who was just completely enabled. I was a woman who put the weight on my husband to do everything. I was the person who knew I was really smart, but just didn't feel like doing it. I had no clarity. I felt lost. I felt kind of depressed. Like I was overweight, unhappy, and just full of excuses. And I just am not at all who I am now. And it's really the fact that you hit a point where you just get so fed up. And I discovered her, my higher self, and just every day listening to her. You can ask all you want, you can pray all you want, but are you being quiet enough to hear the guidance? And just having that relationship with her, I just listen. And every day you make moves, and every day, you say, stop self-sabotaging and using words like try and dabbling, like just do it. And she just helps me to move and shift, and every day counts. Every day matters. And by listening to her guidance, I just said yes to every opportunity, and eventually it gets you to where you're at here. But the funny part is, I know she and I are still just getting started. Yeah. Like there's so much more coming to and through. But yeah, I honor that connection with my higher power, and I honor that connection with God, for sure.
Well, that's beautiful. And I remember from the last time I talked with you, no more trying. We're going to do. No more trying. So what a perfect way to end a wonderful episode with the beautiful, fierce, and talented Cynthia Stant. Thank you so much for being here, Cynthia.
Thank you so much for having me. This really was fun.
And until next time, remember, we are not promised tomorrow. So be present today. It's a gift. Take time to honor it all.